welcome back to week 5 of Placed on the 55 with Jon and Jess. I'm Jon.
I'm Jess the Raspberry. How are you doing, Jon?
I'm doing great, Jess. I finished last week 3-1. So my record after last week brings me to 8-8. So I'm feeling a lot better about myself.
You picked it up. I guess you've matched me. I'm at 8-8 as well.
First game of the week was C and Edmonton. You were on the wrong side of that bet.
Just by the spread, and you were at that game live, which would have been awesome. How was the experience down there, Jon? How did it look in their second home game?
Yeah, game 2 at home. It wasn't sold out. The 50-cent hangover hit. They were loud. It was a good fan base for the number of people that showed up. They were getting behind their team in key plays and getting loud on the defense. The thing that kept going through my head when I was at that game, because I had bet on the Elks, I thought to myself, well, if the Elks win, I win. And if BC wins, I still win, but I lose the bet.
Well, that's the good thing about betting against the spread. I thought BC was going to cover, and I lost that one.
It was a perfect outcome to be at because BC won, they didn't cover, so I won the bet, and I watched them win the game. The second game of the week was a bit one-sided, as we expected, Montreal and Toronto. Aside from the score, the big news of that game was the infield kick making its comeback for a second season in a row by Montreal. And a lot of people thought they were going to do away with that rule in the offseason, and they didn't.
And they should have. CFL should have done that. Montreal exploited that rule last year, and they've done it again this year. I don't like it. It makes the CFL look kind of bush league for having weird rules. It's one thing to have the rouge or a point after a missed field goal and so forth, but to have a team advance to a new, fresh set of downs over a stupid little 1-yard kick, it just doesn't look right. I don't like it. The CFL should have gotten rid of it last summer.
Yeah, a team could be 3rd and 30, and as long as they kick their little dribble kick 1 yard past the line of scrimmage, it's a new set of downs. It's a gutsy call. It does require a lot of skill to make that play. Timing is super important. But I think it's more about mistiming on the defense than it's about proper timing on the offensive side of that ball.
What I'm really surprised about is how that rule has been around forever, and it's just come out now.
You said it's the second time Montreal has exploited it, and I think that's very poignant. That's a great word, because that's what it feels like. It feels like they're exploiting a silly rule that taken out of the league.
It should be, and no other team has used it. Yeah, it should be out.
Then on Saturday, we had Winnipeg and Calgary heading into overtime for the first overtime game of the season. Couple missteps by Winnipeg in the end. Collaros got taken out of that game. They ended up losing by a field goal. With that one, I came out with the win. That was my third win of the weekend, and then you lost that one. That's tough. But overtime's always exciting.
It was an exciting football game. You gotta have to feel for Winnipeg, and they're winless, 0-4. That's going to be tough.
Final game of week 4, Hamilton at Ottawa. Both coaches have terrible winning records, significantly to the loss column. I thought with that game, I was going to finish the weekend 4-0, but unfortunately, Ottawa didn't win by enough, and a little half point came and bit me in the ass. They came out with a win by 2 points, but they didn't cover that spread, and that was your second win of the weekend.
Right now, it's so tight, and that's why the spread guys are so good, just a half a point. And that separated you from going 4-0, just by a mere half a point.
The spread makers are great, and that brings us into week 5. We're recording this early. It's on Canada Day, Monday. Happy Canada Day.
Happy Canada Day to you as well.
Opening the computer to check out the spreads earlier, you saw that Saskatchewan was getting 1.5 points, and now Toronto is minus 4.5. Is that all because of the Harris injury?
Well, I believe so. It was quite surprising to me as someone that may have placed a bet a day or so ago. As we start talking about the upcoming weeks, that's actually my toughest game. Toronto now, they're 4.5 point favorites. I still like them over the Riders.
Yeah, the Riders can start the game with 4.5 points with this spread, but they're not starting the game with their starting quarterback. He's going to be out for maybe as many as 6 games. That's going to be a big hill to climb. We'll see. Maybe Saskatchewan best goes 3-3 over these next 6. Hopefully he comes back early. They did have the bye, so he's ahead already a week with that injury. When I'm looking at this game and I'm seeing that Toronto's starting down 4.5, I'm going to focus on the penalty yards. Saskatchewan's taken a lot of penalties this season. They've got 277 in yards against. Toronto's got 236. If you're going to take away the Riders' starting quarterback from this game and they're coming into with more penalties, I'm going to put my money on Toronto and agree that they're going to win by more than 4.5.
All right, we agree on that, but I think we're going to disagree as we talked off air about a couple of other games. Going into Friday, we got Ottawa at Winnipeg. The Bombers are favored by 2.5 points.
I think Ottawa looked decent in yesterday's matchup against Hamilton. The quarterback looked pretty good. They had some big plays. The running backs seemed to have some really large breakout plays. I don't know if they're going to have that same success against Winnipeg. If Winnipeg starts this season 0-5, I'd be really concerned if I was Mr. O'Shea about my future with the organization. Sure, they are former Grey Cup contenders in last year's Grey Cup, but they don't seem like the same team, and they're certainly missing a lot of those wide receivers for this game. For a number of reasons, I'm going to have to say that while all of those things work against Winnipeg, I still think they're going to beat Ottawa and cover 2.5 points. Like, that's only a field goal, right, Jess?
That's right. Oh, for a second there, I thought you were going for the Ottawas, and I was going to laugh at you. Yeah, I think they're going to have to cover 1.5 over a team that barely... They didn't even make the playoffs last year in a very weak East division, whereas Winnipeg went to the Grey Cup, almost won it. And 2.5 points doesn't seem like very much. I'll take the Bombers to bomb the Red Blacks. And by the way, I looked up the Red Blacks name, and it's all about the former colors of the Ottawa team in like the 1940s or 50s. They had red and black colors. That's why they went back to the red black. They also wanted the R on their helmets as well to make it look like they were the former Rough Riders.
Yeah, the Ottawa Rough Riders. Is that why they have a big saw in the logo also? Some sort of tie into the Rough Riders?
The saw has something to do with a logging thing that the Red Blacks are apparently a part of. To be a Red Black, you have to, I don't know, cut a bunch of wood. Can't be that much wood in Ottawa, so that doesn't make any sense to me.
We got Saturday's matchup, Calgary at Montreal. Montreal is starting the game down 9.5 points with this spread. Whew, that's a lot of points. I don't know. What do you think?
It's a crap load of points. I hate to give up 9.5 points even in the CFL, but that being said, I'm still taking the Alouettes on this one. The Stampeders are mediocre at best. Montreal won the Grey Cup last year, and they're proving that wasn't a fluke. I'm starting to believe in the Alouettes. 9.5 points. I'm not comfortable with it. I'm not putting a ton of money on that one, but I'm still picking the Alouettes.
I didn't know what's easier, to bet on games where you have a huge spread or bet on games where you have a small spread. For that reason, I look at this 9.5 and I'm a little concerned about being on the wrong side of it. And you're probably going to be concerned for me when I say I'm going to go with Calgary. I think if Calgary's starting this game with 9.5 and I look at their record in terms of penalties, so they've only taken 166 yards in penalties this season, whereas Montreal has taken 258. That's a lot of mistakes. Give them 9.5. Make more mistakes on the Alouette side of the ball. Yeah, I'm going to say Calgary is going to come out ahead with this bet and put my money there.
I don't know. Good luck on that. I'll take the Grey Cup champs at home over a very poor team from the West. We're not talking about BC or Winnipeg coming into Montreal. We're talking about the Stamps, and the Stamps don't look that great at all. They're going to fight out in the West for third or at best. Montreal at home, 9.5. I'm taking them all the way.
So BC is going to be in Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw this game a few weeks ago before the season started, I thought to myself, hey, here's a preview of the 111th Grey Cup.
Yeah.
BC versus Hamilton. It's not looking like that's going to happen at this stage of the game. Hamilton's coming into this game 0-4. BC is down 5.5 points. So Hamilton's starting the game with 5.5 points at home against BC.
I easily like the BC Lions to cover that 5.5 points, even on the road in Hamilton. Hamilton does not look that impressive. and BC looks awesome. Hopefully Vernon Adams is still okay. Like, he was a little injured in the last game at home, but even a semi-healthy Vernon Adams should be able to cover 5.5 points over the Tabbies.
Yeah, and this is the second game where we differ, because while I do believe BC's going to win, I've got some question marks about them. I want them to be better than they are. So Hamilton may lose this game, but are they going to lose by more than 5.5? I don't think so. So I'm going to say Hamilton's going to come out ahead, put my money on them.
Wow. You bet on the Tabbies again. Unbelievable.
I know. Every bet on the Tabbies this season, I have come up on the wrong side. You want to make a side bet? Do I go 0-5 on my bets with the Tabbies this year?
Sure. I'll take that. Yeah. Well, you've already lost 4 of them, so why wouldn't you lose one more?
50-50 odds, Jess.
And you can check out this Grey Cup sweater that I'm wearing from the year 2000, when the BC Lions beat the Montreal Alouettes 28-26 in Calgary at McMahon Stadium. Damon Allen was the quarterback for the Lions. Louis Pasaglia kicked a couple of field goals, and the Canadian Robert Drummond was the most valuable player of the game, the running back for the Lions at the time.
That's an awesome shirt. I love it. 24 years ago.
Yeah.
88th Grey Cup.
Can you believe this shirt is 24 years old?
I know. It's in great shape.
Yeah.
Hardly any stains on it.
Yeah, it's been in the dresser for a while.
All right, Jess. So that's been awesome. I'm looking forward to these next 4 games at the end of the week. Will you be ahead of me? Will your record better mine? I don't know. Tune in, find out.
It will by the end of the season, because I'm going to hold 110 yards on this one, baby.
Till next week, Jess.
You got it.